Okay, this video is going to be about rebuilding something. If you notice, this flipper here uh, is missing, and it looks weird. Now we have two choices. We can then cut out this guy right here, which is perfectly fine, or we can rebuild. So you may need to be rebuilt for different things. So I want to show you a tool called the clone tool. It's really useful for rebuilding things. So the first thing with the clone tool we want to do is we probably want to make a selection of what to do in the shape of the rest of the flipper. So if you look over here, you have this lasso tool. This is another selection tool. And I can grab this and try to rough in the shape of, and when I release the click and drag, it fills in. So I have a selection. And think about selections, right? I can work on selections now. If I went to draw something, right, you'd see it only draws within the selection. But what I want to do is clone this texture, right, this texture of the flipper to make a new flipper. So in the tools palette, it's right over here. It's the S tool, the S key on your keyboard will jump you to it. Now, if I just go ahead and try to click, it tells me, oh, I can't use it because I don't have a source point. Right? It needs to know what texture you want to do, right? So if you, with the clone tool selected, you hold down the option key and you see it becomes kind of a little cursor type thing. So I'm going to click right here to sample this part of the flipper, and then move over here, and you'll see a little preview of what it's going to be drawing. Again, everything works the same here. I can plus and minus. I can use the brackets. There's another thing that we can do with brushes is change its softness or hardness, and that's by holding the Shift key and using the left and right brackets. Because sometimes you want to clone in with a little feather, and sometimes you want to clone in with a hard edge. I'm going to suggest being maybe one single level down in hardness, and making it a little smaller, right? So I have about this right here. And from there, I'm just going to draw in with that texture. And what it's doing is it's sampling, and you'll notice it's actually moving because you can actually see this. It's really hard to see, but you see that little cursor, right? But that's it. I'm going to draw that in. Once I have that drawn in, I'm actually going to deselect it, Command D, or go to Select, Deselect, and look at where the edges kind of came in, right? Because it may not be perfect. So again, I might take out that tool, sample it again somewhere, and say, well, let me make this like this. Maybe I didn't, or there's just various ways. Again, it just comes with sampling and trying to go ahead and add that texture where you want to add it. I didn't like that, right? And then over here, of course, just like Illustrator, we have an eraser tool, right? It's the E tool. Whoops, that is not the right eraser tool. This should be the right eraser tool. What is going on? Oh, I have a giant brush, that's why. So again, left and right brackets. Same thing with the sharpness and hardness with the shift and left and right brackets. Generally with the eraser tool, I don't use any softness. And then maybe I'll just kind of fix up this where it kind of messed up, right? But that is it, right? We've built and I wouldn't say that's perfect because I rushed through it, but obviously the more time you take, the more time you spend on it. The clone brush is a really nice tool for rebuilding a piece. And you very well may have to do that during this Chimera project.